Elliot Kane adjusted his cufflinks, the silver glinting under the dim lights of the Grand Continental's first-class carriage. At 42, he was a titan of industry, his name etched into the steel of every locomotive crossing the Midwest. But tonight, as the train rumbled out of Chicago, he felt the weight of something heavier than his empire, a secret he'd carried for decades. Why did he choose this train, this night, to confront his truth? He glanced at the empty seat beside him, reserved for no one, a quiet rebellion against the world's expectations. The carriage was a tapestry of wealth men in tailored suits, women in furs, all whispering about stocks and scandals. Yet, as Elliot's gaze drifted to the window, reflecting his sharp jawline and weary hazel eyes, he wondered, could they see through him? The train lurched, and a young man rugged, with tousled dark hair and a leather jacket dropped into the seat meant for no one. "This taken?" he asked, voice low, eyes daring Elliot to protest. "What would you do if someone claimed what was yours without asking?" Elliot's pulse quickened, not from anger, but from the stranger's brazen confidence. "It's reserved," Elliot said coolly, though his tone betrayed a flicker of curiosity. The man smirked, leaning back. "Looks empty to me. Name's Caleb. You're Elliot Kane, right? The Railroad King. How does it feel to be known, yet not truly seen?" Elliot nodded, his guard up. Caleb's presence was a spark in a powder keg, disruptive, dangerous, alive. The other passengers began to notice, their whispers sharpening. A woman in pearls clutched her purse, her eyes narrowing at Caleb's worn boots. "You're in my seat," Elliot pressed, but his voice lacked conviction. Why wasn't he angrier? Caleb's gaze held his, unyielding, like he saw past the Tycoon to the man beneath. "Plenty of seats. Kane, why fight for this one?" Caleb's question hung in the air, a challenge wrapped in a grin. What makes a seater a moment worth fighting for? Before Elliot could answer, the train's brakes screamed, metal grinding against metal. The carriage jolted, glasses shattering, passengers gasping. The Grand Continental, Elliot's pride, came to a screeching halt. Why did the train stop? Was it chance, or something more? Elliot's heart raced as he met Caleb's steady gaze. In that frozen moment, he sensed this was no ordinary delay. The carriage was chaos shouts, spilled champagne, a baby's wail. Elliot stood, his authority instinctive, and strode toward the conductor's compartment. Caleb followed, uninvited, his boots heavy on the polished floor. Why did this stranger feel so tethered to him already? "Mr. Kane." The conductor, a wiry man named Jenkins, was pale, his hands trembling over the controls. The emergency brake light just engaged. No warning, no reason. What does it mean when the machine you built betrays you? Elliot's mind raced. The Grand Continental was his masterpiece, every bolt and gear a testament to his will. A random failure was unthinkable. Sabotage. Caleb's voice cut through, sharp and unafraid. He leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, as if he belonged in this crisis. Why would a stranger insert himself into your world? Elliot shot him a glance, torn between irritation and intrigue. "You're awfully calm for a stowaway." Caleb chuckled, unfazed. "Not my first derailment. Kane, you learned to roll with it." The conductor fumbled with a radio, static crackling. "No signal. We're in the middle of nowhere. Sir." What do you do when you're stranded, surrounded by strangers who might judge you? Elliot felt the eyes of the passengers behind him, their murmurs growing. He was their leader, their tycoon, yet he felt exposed, as if the halt had stripped away his armor. Caleb stepped closer, his voice low. "Something's off. You feel it, don't you?" How do you trust a gut feeling when the world demands proof? Elliot nodded, his instincts aligning with Caleb's. He ordered Jenkins to check the brakes manually, then turned to the passengers, his voice steady despite the storm within. Stay calm. We'll resolve this. But as he returned to his seat, Caleb trailing, a woman's voice sliced through the carriage. You. She spat, pointing at Caleb. You don't belong here. Why do some fear those who don't fit their mold? The woman's words stung, not just Caleb but Elliot, who knew the weight of being other. He faced her, his tone icy. He's my guest. Caleb's eyes widened, a flicker of gratitude passing between them. What does it mean to be claimed? Even for a moment. The train remained motionless, the night outside pressing against the windows like a living thing. Elliot and Caleb sat side by side now, an unspoken truce. Why does silence between two people feel louder than words? The passengers' unease grew, their whispers turning to accusations. It's sabotage, a man in a pinstripe suit declared, eyeing Caleb. Probably him. What happens when fear turns a stranger into a scapegoat? Elliot's jaw tightened. He'd seen this before, blame cast on those who dared to be different. He stood, his voice commanding. Enough. We don't accuse without evidence. Caleb leaned forward, his voice low. They're scared. Kane. Scared people lash out. Why do we hurt what we don't understand? Elliot met Caleb's gaze, seeing not just defiance but a quiet strength. You've been through this before, he said, more statement than question. Caleb's smile was bittersweet. Grew up in a town that didn't take kindly to guys like me. What does it mean to carry a truth the world rejects? Elliot's chest tightened. He'd hidden his own truth for years, burying it beneath wealth and power. Yet here was Caleb, unapologetic, raw. Jenkins returned, breathless. The brake's been tampered with. Someone pulled the emergency lever on purpose. Who would dare stop a Tycoon's train? The passengers erupted, their fear now a tangible force. Elliot's mind raced. Was this about him? His empire? Or something deeper? Caleb's hand brushed his, a fleeting touch that grounded him. We'll figure it out, Caleb said, his voice steady. Why does a stranger's faith in you feel like salvation? Elliot nodded, their partnership unspoken but sealed. Elliot and Caleb moved through the train, questioning passengers, searching for clues. Why does working together feel like building something new? The carriage was a microcosm of America's wealthy elites, working-class families, dreamers, and skeptics, all trapped together. A young woman, Lila, approached, her voice trembling. I saw someone near the brake compartment before the halt. A man in a gray coat. What do you do with a clue that points nowhere? Elliot's mind cataloged the passengers. Nobody matched her description. Caleb's eyes narrowed. Could be someone slipped off the train. They checked the brake compartment, a cramped space of levers and gears. Elliot's fingers traced the emergency lever, its metal cold and accusing. This was deliberate, he said. Why would someone target this train? This moment? Caleb crouched, examining the floor. Look, fresh mud. Someone was here. The discovery sent a chill through Elliot. Was this about his empire? Or his identity? He'd kept his sexuality hidden, but rumors swirled. Had they followed him here? What does it feel like to be hunted for who you are? Caleb's hand rested on his shoulder, brief but firm. We're in this together. Kane. The passengers grew restless, their fear curdling into anger. A man shouted, This is your fault. Kane. Your train. Your mess. Why do we blame those who rise above us? Elliot faced the crowd, his voice steady. I'll fix this. But we need to work together. Caleb's gaze held his. A silent promise. What does it mean to find an ally in chaos? As midnight approached, the train remained stranded, the night air thick with tension. Elliot and Caleb sat in the dining car, poring over a passenger manifest. Why does truth feel closer in the dark? Caleb's voice was soft. You're not like them, are you? The suits. The tycoons. There's more to you. What happens when someone sees the you you've hidden? Elliot's throat tightened. I've spent my life building walls, he admitted. This empire, it's all I have. Caleb leaned closer. It's not all you are? Their eyes locked, the air electric. Why does vulnerability feel like falling? Before Elliot could speak, Lila burst in, clutching a crumpled note. I found this in the brake compartment. The note read, Kane's secret stops here. What does it mean to have your truth weaponized? Elliot's heart sank. Someone knew someone who wanted to destroy him. Caleb's jaw clenched. They're not just after your train. They're after you. Who has the power to expose your deepest self? Elliot's mind raced, names and faces blurring. His rivals. A betrayed ally. Or someone closer. The passengers' voices grew louder, demanding answers. Elliot stood, his resolve hardening. We find who did this. Tonight. Why does fighting for truth feel like fighting for life? Caleb nodded, his hand brushing Elliot's again, a spark in the dark. Elliot and Caleb split up, questioning passengers, searching for the man in the gray coat. Why does the truth always hide in plain sight? The train felt like a labyrinth, each carriage a new layer of suspicion. In the second-class car, Elliot found a man named Harold, his gray coat folded beside him. You were near the brakes, Elliot said, his voice low but firm. Harold's eyes darted. I didn't do anything. What do you do when denial feels like a lie? Caleb appeared, his presence steadying. Then explain the note, Caleb said, holding up the crumpled paper. Harold paled. I was paid. To leave it. I didn't know what it meant. Who pulls the strings behind a betrayal? Elliot pressed. Paid by who? Harold's voice cracked. A man in Chicago. Said he worked for someone big. Someone who hates you. Kane. Why does hate target those who dare to be themselves? Elliot's mind spun. His rival, Marcus Vaughn, had long coveted his empire. But this felt personal, deeper than business. The passengers gathered, their anger now aimed at Harold. He's the saboteur. A woman shouted. What happens when a crowd becomes a mob? Elliot raised a hand, silencing them. We don't judge without proof. But we will find the truth. Caleb's gaze met his, a quiet strength passing between them. Why does standing together feel like defiance? Elliot and Caleb returned to the dining car, the note burning in Elliot's pocket. Why does the truth feel like a blade? Jenkins radioed Chicago, confirming Vaughn's involvement. He's been spreading rumors about you, sir, Jenkins said. About your personal life. What does it mean to be exposed before you're ready? Elliot's chest tightened. He'd built his empire to shield himself, but now it was crumbling. Caleb's voice was steady. You don't have to hide, Elliot. Not from them. Not from me. Why does acceptance feel like freedom? Elliot met Caleb's gaze, the weight of years lifting. I'm gay, he said, the words soft but unshakable. The dining car fell silent, passengers staring. Some faces softened, others hardened. What does it mean to stand in your truth? Before anyone could speak, Jenkins burst in. The brakes are fixed. We can move. But Elliot wasn't ready to move on. Why run from a fight you've already started? He faced the passengers. I'm Elliot Kane. I built this train, this empire. And I'm gay. If that's a problem, get off my train. Caleb's smile was a beacon. What does it mean to find home in another's eyes? The train roared to life, tracks humming beneath it. Elliot stood at the front, Caleb beside him, their shoulders brushing. Why does moving forward feel like a victory? The passengers were quieter now, some offering nods, others avoiding his gaze. Lila approached, her voice soft. Thank you, Mr. Kane, for being you. What does it mean to inspire by being yourself? Elliot smiled, his heart lighter than it had been in years. As the train sped toward its destination, Caleb leaned closer. You're not what I expected, Kane. But I'm glad I stole your seat. Why does love bloom in the chaos of truth? Elliot laughed, a sound he hadn't heard from himself in too long. You're not so bad yourself. The stars outside blurred past, a reminder that the journey was far from over. Vaughn would face justice, but more importantly, Elliot had found something greater, himself, and a man who saw him for it. What does it mean to derail hate with love? The train rolled on, carrying not just passengers, but a new kind of hope, one built on truth, courage, and the unexpected spark of two souls meeting in the dark.